So this is what they doing. They pulling up on folks. Crazy. They just hopping out. They chasing folks down. They jumping out of U-Hauls, and you know.
Is this like the equivalent to the stop and frisk movement back in NYC back in the day? Huh? What you got, EV?
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I think it's worse. I think it's worse, man. The thing about it though, some things are necessary, man. It's like a bad medicine. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a medicine that you gotta take. It don't taste good, but it's kind of necessary, man. It's kind of necessary, you know. I mean, but it's all designed to make it better. The thing about it is that the crime is up, man, and a lot of this crime, we say, oh, well, the crime is senseless. Yeah, because if some people weren't here, some of the crime wouldn't happen. If you just come and do your thing, stay on the radar like some of the other groups, you'd be fine.
I agree. So here we go. These troops, they everywhere. They in Chicago. They in Memphis. Shout out to this brother, Anton.
Uh-oh.
Yo. What up, world? It's your boy, Krim. Hey, check this out. I got something to say. Hey, if you in my city of Memphis right now, and you ain't got no license, hey, go back in the house. Hey, if you outside and your tag's bogus, just go back in the house. If you outside think you finna ride dirty, the way these folks out here pulling over everything, just go back in the house, man. Just go back in the house. Man, when I tell you, Memphis is on fire right now, like fire. I'm talking about fire. Man, these folks ain't playing, man. 19 different agencies, the National Guard, and the police already been hot. Hey, to all my street dudes, my street dogs, just go back in the house, man. Just don't even worry about it. Matter of fact, go in the house, stop at the grocery store, go get you some popcorn, man. Go back in the house, cut Tubi on, and just go look at all my movies, man.
No, the hell with that. Go download the Indeed app. Put some applications in. Go to work. I mean, it's over with. It's over with. We got to move forward.
So that, you know what? I thought that was like ICE. Like, so what is going on? So I know you got ICE rounding folks up, but that you also, what is that? What was that we saw? Who the heck is that jumping out the back of those vans?
They got Border Patrol, they got ICE, they got the feds, ATF, everything. 19 agencies, he said.
19 agencies. Is the set okay? Shout out to Ty Pro. He said crime is going down. So what's the disconnect? Why we got 19 agencies out here acting like this is the Wild West and crime is going down?
I mean, basically, like Evie said, you got concentrated areas where persons that might not be here under the right premises or the context that they need to be concentrated in those areas because of the jobs that people like myself, and I mean by myself, my color, and others that don't want those types of jobs. And so the word gets out that these types of low-level employment opportunities are there. I understand from my childhood that the plan is something like 12 people may live in a house event to start, but they all have the intentions of spreading out and maximizing blocks or anything else like that. So they got the work ethic and the discipline to go ahead and do things. They just don't have the wherewithal to do it in the appropriate way. And unfortunately for them, it's rules to this. And if you don't got written permission, you got to lock them up.
And that's it. And that's why it's unfortunate. The lowly, the destitute, the poor and impoverished, they always are coming, want you to make an exception because like you said, they want to try to do better. They don't know how, but there's rules. You can't be out here riding around dirty, saying, oh, I got to get to work, but you ain't got no registration, no insurance, no tags. Been there, done it. Got to find a way out of it.
So I'm going to let this go for a minute. I'll get you in, Leon.
Type in Kingpin. Watch King.
It's a shame that people don't stop doing bad until they start to be held accountable for their actions. But then we'll sit here and participate in the foolishness, even though we as citizens, we don't have nothing to do with the street life. We chilling, we trying to have the best time possible. We want to make sure that our daughters and our sons are taken care of. We're trying to get back and forth to work safely without getting carjacked. I just recently, probably within the last 2 weeks before the Trump administration got there, was detailing and highlighting how it was open shootings without any kind of problem whatsoever. And nobody is safe. And these are great cities that I've always wanted to go to and visit. And people have not been able to go there because it's too much foolishness, it's too much ratchetness, and it's unsafe for the general public to be there. And we got people that don't even live in these communities, while the people that's in the community is under duress.
Look at Memphis, Afghanistan. Look at the neighborhood dope, man. Look at Play. And then
Everybody got movies on Tubi?
Korean.
Yeah, I just got done talking to a straight state trooper up here. He said, yeah, I can't wait till this over with, because I ain't signing up for this. I done been on about 7 high-speed chases since this shit done.
Oh, actually having these guys earn their paycheck instead of just getting American tax dollars while sitting back with a radar gun. Interesting.
Started. It's time for me to go back to where I come from. Hey, man, told y'all ain't ready for Memphis.
And stop doing that too. Y'all ain't ready for Memphis. Listen here, they shutting the city down. And here's the thing, I don't know, as far as the crime thing, Mr. Walker always say, if you got a blade in you 6 inches and then they pull it out some and it's in you 4 inches, it's progress, but you still in bad shape. So I think that's where we at.
There you go. And I think that's the disconnect. So there you go. Technically, right? Crime could be showing to go down via, charts and graphs. That's all fine. But again, is it really that good? Is it good? We went from, 30 mass shootings, in a month down to 25. Progress.
So what you got, Leon? What's your take on, is crime down? What's the state of the community?
I say one thing, let it burn. That Jesus is not coming back till niggas start just burning it down every day. People don't realize, look, the government shut down. If you're relying on the government is going to say to you one day, hey, you want to eat? This is what you got to do.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go.
There's only one cleansing power.
What's that?
That's the blood.
Might be much blood. If everything burned, I'm pretty sure the streets gonna run red. So
actually,
maybe.
The Bible says that the blood's gonna be so high. See, I'm looking for that time. See, other folks think that the rapture is gonna come and we're gonna fly high to the sky and we're gonna go to heaven with Jesus and we're gonna all have a good old time and then we're gonna come on back. And see, other folks think that the rapture is gonna come and we're gonna fly high to the sky and we're gonna go to heaven with Jesus and we're gonna all have a good old time and then we're gonna come on back. And no, you better learn how to grow some vegetables so you won't have to go to the store. I think
it's too late for that. I think it's too late. Who is it? Bill Gates buying up all the farmland, trying to grow vegetables. Good luck. Good luck.
A 5-gallon bucket and start growing some tomatoes and some potatoes and some whatever you can. Do like the old folks used to do.
See, you know what? That sounds good. I like what you're saying, but now you got folks sitting here with, their apartment. They got a couple 5-gallon Home Depot Lowe's buckets now, and they hungry, and they sitting here looking at wet dirt. Like you see what I'm saying? You got to do it. I feel you, but you got to put it real time. These niggas ain't about to sit here and learn, agriculture.
I agree. Well, then you're gonna have to get what the government is gonna give you.
Rations. Them rations.
Look, COVID was just a shot over the bow, just to let you know what the government can do to you. Just a shot over the bow, just a warning shot. If you think it's over, it ain't over.
Oh.
This is just the beginning. Government shutdown, folks not getting paid, working and not getting paid. That sounds like slavery.
Yeah, sure do.
Yes. So here we go. Speaking of that, I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna mute you, Leon, until we get you back in. All right, because you got a little echo. I'm gonna get you in, EV. Crime is down. Check this out.
There's an alarming new crime trend from the state of Texas, which is now spreading really all across the southeast, and police say it can happen in just a few seconds.
Jugging rhymes with mugging. It spread from Texas to South Carolina. Some police in small towns there weren't even sure what the word meant until the crime started happening in their own districts.
Derived from the term mugging, but since a mug holds less, a jug is make a bigger score.
This video is of a gunpoint robbery in Sherman Oaks, California. The customer throws his bag of $10,000 cash and the thieves take off. It's called bank jugging. Thieves watch you taking out money from the bank, follow you, and rob you. It can happen quickly anywhere at any time. In Austin, Texas, police report more than 60 cases in the first half of the year. And in California, police have noticed an...
Look at this. It's jugging. So I think two things could be true. You know, crime can be down in the hood, but I think a lot of people are going outwardly. They run up in Louis Vuitton and they out jugging. They out robbing white folks. I think ain't no more bread in the hood. Who you gonna rob in the hood when everybody trying to rob, right? There ain't a lot of bread, so they starting to go outwardly, I think.
You know what? They say history continues to repeat itself. We ain't been here that long, but that's what I've read. That's what I saw. Like, you remember seems to be the beginning of dang every revolution. Like you just said, Mr. X, first, they go ahead and damage their own community, which I don't know why they do that. And then once resource everything is scarce, then they bleed out to the more affluent, the rich and the wealthy. That's when they bring in the army and the other. Oh, here we go. So it just keep repeating. What was it? There was a movie, I think, Gangs of New York, right? They depicted that as a couple of them.
Money out of a Chase bank and came to this convenience store on Telephone Road. In just seconds, the 4Runner pulls up, followed by a white Chrysler. And men from the vehicles, two break out the windows on both sides of the victim's vehicle before reaching in and taking off with the cash.
And leaving envelopes stuffed with cash, or even putting it in a glove compartment. Nothing safe.
The day before, Houston police say this man took money from inside a vehicle at a car wash. When confronted by that vehicle's owner, the suspect showed a weapon before getting away with money also recently withdrawn from a bank.
In North Dallas, he backed his car in, and then 3 armed men jump out of an SUV, run up, and start pointing their guns at him, even pounding on his window, demanding he give up the cash he has on.
Sit. Let them sit. You know what the response was? Well, the Raleigh police don't come out. They're not even scared of the cops. So we're talking about crime being down. First of all, the criminals got to fear the police. If crime was down, there would be no Bonquisha videos that we review. You know what I'm saying? There would be no body cam. The body cam videos on YouTube would be nothing if crime was down. So that's a bunch of BS. The second thing is that the people who aren't from here, they're not scared of the police because they know they got rights. They know they got special privileges. The problem is that Antoine and Pookie and Ray Ray don't have special privileges. And they're trying to cape for these people. At the end of the day, they're going to set up shop in your area and they're going to make you the consumer. I see a person talking about where I get my stats from. I get my stats from real life. I live this thing. And the thing about it is that it's easy to get behind a keyboard and talk about this thing and read stuff on whatever MSNBC you look at. But at the end of the day, I'm talking real life. Real life people, the police are not, they don't have the flexibility that they once had. And then you have these police officers that go rogue and they believe in all this other stuff. So they're not even enforcing this stuff. So what do? You're going to bring in you know what T-Money doing? He bringing in outside forces because T-Money, at the end of the day, this hurts business. People think it's all about race. It's all about trying to get the black man down. This is hurting business. That Louis Vuitton store you talking about is hurting his business. That man's got that auto dealer shop. it's hurting that man's business. It's hurting all these businesses from building this stuff here in these areas. And that's what T Money's looking at. So everybody's talking about, oh, it's not the black man down. No, it's to help this green pocket. And let me tell you who else got some of this green pocket. Black folks that probably won't even speak to you. I'm gonna land my plane. I can go forward, but yeah, you know.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna let this go for a second, and we'll get you at Postman as well.
Uptick over the past few months.
Police say you can see a driver who had recently gotten money out of a Chase bank and came to this convenience store on Telephone Road. In just seconds, the 4Runner pulls up, followed by a white Chrysler. And men from the vehicles, two break out the windows on both sides of the victim's vehicle before reaching in and taking off with the cash.
And leaving envelopes stuffed with cash, or even putting it in a glove compartment. Nothing safe.
The day before, Houston police say this man took money from inside a vehicle at a car wash. When confronted by that vehicle's owner, the suspect showed a weapon before getting away with money also recently withdrawn from a bank.
In North Dallas, he backed his car in, and then 3 armed men jump out of an SUV, run up, and start pointing their guns at him, even pounding on his window, demanding he give up the cash he has on him. In this case, their plan did not work because Mark kept his doors locked.
Look at this. This is wild, man. So it's a little different out here. Like, say, I don't know. I think things were so far out of control during the pandemic and all this stuff that if it got any worse, I mean, where would we be? So I think things can only go down from where they were.
Here you go. You know what? I think I like to look at things from both perspectives. And growing up in a project and impoverished, I had that ability. Like, I remember telling my wife, like, you know, we ain't too far from the hood. I'm like, we are marks. This could be us in our driveway. You know, way some of our community may see. I remember being these guys. I remember me and Mr. X more or less being these guys. So I know who they looking for. So that's the thing. Try to look at things from both sides, because you could go from being them ninjas jumping out that old ratted out Suburban to the folks sitting there just trying to come home from a hard day's work. You could be on both sides of the fence.
And I would say a lot of stuff can be anecdotal experiences. So, you know, I might be able to sit here and say, well, where I'm from, crime is down, granted. But, you know, we up here, we from all over the country. I look on my Facebook all the time, people in my hometown, everywhere. Oh, man, gunshots. Hey, y'all hear them shots? Yeah, I heard them. Yeah, they shooting over there. Yeah, the police. You know, so this stuff is going on everywhere.
That's a fact. In our own backyard, that's true. Just observable, livable data, like Brother EV said. Like there was a time when I was a project kid, so I used to be walking the streets at 1 a.m. You know what I mean? Then weren't worried about the daggone thing, maybe a raccoon or a stray deer. But now you couldn't pay me to walk my old streets after 10:30 because they doing this. They jumping out, these young men. We talk about this. It's coming full circle. These young men being raised by these harlots. They have no fathers. They really don't have any mothers. They got no emotions, no feelings. And it ain't all their fault. They raised into hell. And then they out here. Now they just doing senseless violence. Walking down the street. You getting poked and shot for no reason.
Huh. So what you got, Postman? What's your take?
I think it's a confluence of many things. And we start at the point where my grandmother used to say, you show me the right hand so I don't see what the left is doing. And in this, I believe that things are underreported or unreported. A lot of cops, we just alluded to in one of those other things, that they don't want to do paperwork. I'm a union steward at my job, and management has a particular flavor of the month of things they choose to hone in on. So we can relegate those things to being crime. And so this month, that crime may be attendance. Next month, that crime is scam points, so on and so forth. And so I use the analogy to say that the crime that is being reported may not be things like this. Couple that with things that we know the news is not the news of yesteryear. The news is a lot more sensationalized and hyper-focused. And so much like live streaming and reaction channels, things that are trendy and things that are actually worth talking about are the things that we want to either prophesize about the future of them or try to hyper focus on, so that I'm not necessarily compelled to worry about the other things going on in society. And so If I show you, for example, the things those young guys are doing, while not at that level of lacking in conscience, I've seen people not rob or plunder their own neighborhoods throughout the course of my childhood. Affluent neighborhoods were the logical place because they actually had things. Nonetheless, social media, the way in which it's fixated upon, and the way in which I want you to know a known enemy could be the exact way in which I want to put out my news media. And so today, while I show you ICE and ISIS and everything else that's being prophesized, I want to let you know that the main enemy is still there. And so jugging or mugging, which has always been around, just in a different form of fashion, the wheel is not new, just reinvented. You find a way back to the target that you want to be at. And so these things can be perpetualized by media and mainstream media, and you showing me what you want me to see more so than the things that are actually happening.
There you go. Could that be a thing? Could there? So, there's an argument that, that crime is down, and we have been seeing, the opposite in social media. Yes, two things can be true. Social media does tend to project negative. People are attracted to negative things. That's why, we say this whole baby mama drama, this whole, single moms by choice thing is a train wreck. It's terrible, but you can't look away. So there could be a thing, but at the same time, media could be, tainting folks' point of views. But at the same time, I mean, we see it, it's there. Should we, what do we do? Do we say crime is down and what? Tell police to fall back and relax and, jugging ain't a big deal? I don't know.
That part. I mean, I think personally, crime is never down. I think it just comes and goes. It's in waves, different parts of the country. Some places where crime is down is back up. I can remember back in 20 years ago, in my hometown, I can remember 15 years ago where crime was at an all-time high. And then I can remember, 7, 8 years ago where it was low. And then I'm looking now where it's back at an all-time high. So you see it it goes up and down depending on who the mayor is, who the police chief, do they really care? The parents, it's a lot.
There you go.
And then look at the type of crime. I was telling somebody the other day, I said years ago, when did you ever think that you saw a white person in church and you start grabbing your gun? You're scared to see them come in your church. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, when you just talking about that, Gav, a second ago, it's like there even when crime was up, there were certain places that you wouldn't do crime. You wouldn't do it at a church. You wouldn't rob an old person. Now they'll rob an old person and shoot up a whole church quicker than they would, somebody that owed money on the street. So
well, let me ask you this, Evie, not to cut you off. I think back in the day, I think it was less violent crimes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the crimes, when I was kind of involved around, drug dealing and stuff like that, we was involved in different stuff. There was always been people getting deleted and whatnot, but I think it's ramped up a little bit.
Yeah, it's ramped up, and the location of it is ramped up too. You know what I'm saying? It's like I mean, we had a dude that not here, but a dude in our area got killed at a funeral. That stuff happens all the time. It's certain places that they didn't cross back in the day. Now all bets are off now. I mean, you can walk up in church, see somebody up in there that don't look like you, and saying, he didn't pulled out his AK-47. He's going to work. I mean, he's doing work on folks. So on top of crime being not like we don't call it, we'll say that it's down. It's just no more boundaries anymore.
Well, is it worse than the crack era? Let's give a timeline, right? Let's just say we starting in the 80s, from 1980 to 2025. Let's 45, 50 years, right? I mean, It was up. It was violent in the 80s. It wasn't no internet, wasn't no cameras and cell phones. It was a lot of stuff unrecorded, undocumented.
True.
So
that's true. Now I want to touch on that. Boundaries, sacred places. Like you said, growing up, there weren't so many school shooting happenings. And I know growing up, one thing that protected me was being an athlete. When you were an athlete, no matter what hood you was in, you had some kind of protection. The D-boys wouldn't mess with you. You was good. I know, I lived the experience. But now they shooting up the little pee-wee football games. I think it's these happenings that can show, what
here's
my thing worse.
that's my question, Mr. Walker. Is it the internet and the cell phones, or are things really worse? It's really hard to accept, right? Because everything is documented now. So we see, like, kind of what Postman is saying, it's all in our face, it's media, we see it. It's always been bad. It's hard to measure because it's undocumented, really.
So here we go. Shout out to Project Leroy. Said that, whenever the powers to be want to, pass a new crime law, they will report and show that crime is up. And, whenever they don't care, then crime is down whenever they're trying to get reelected. Okay. Now let's say that is true. Like, would it not behoove us to move and prepare and act in a way as if crime is up? And if it is up and you are a law-abiding citizen, maybe I'm missing something. If you are a law-abiding citizen, like I said, this is coming from old project kid that wasn't always following the laws. Are you so much worried about, you know what I mean? Over policing.
Well, here's the question.
Is that the concern?
Here's the question. I think people thinking two things, thinking crime being up is synonymous with there being more criminals. I don't think. It's kind of like Bonquisha having kids, and is there a lot of men with kids? No, it's the same men, right? So I think crime is what it is, but it's not, it's more law-abiding citizens, as you see us up here on this panel. But, there's guys committing a lot of crimes, just a few guys, you see what I'm saying? What you got, Postman?
And you just touched on it right there, Gav. I think it's more so just like that 16% that you alluded to that creates kid. You do have the level of consciousness that used to be there, even if it was ignorant. The G code was an actual thing when I was a kid. There were certain things that they did not cross. My grandmother to everybody in the hood was mama, and there was no way they would broach that or breach that particular sanctity of her home. They would not bring anything that was out of way for my cousin that was in the streets to her. They would let her know, if they seen her even, that he is on the wrong side of what's going on, and you need not have him around your house. But the warnings, the communication, the level of conscious that I speak of was there in a way that even though they knew they were doing wrong and they were conscious of being wrong, they were not so dehumanized to the point where everything it was about survival. And maybe it got out of the hand in terms of the things they were doing. But even early games started out with better purpose. The message got misconstrued, and you get, Black Peace Stone Rangers end up being gangs when they were actually community-based programs. And so I think sometimes the level of consciousness or communication that goes along with teaching young men, because even if I didn't have a direct father in the house, we had a community of men to teach me when things were going wrong, when things were about to get bad, and things we shouldn't be a part of. If you, like you said, if you're an athlete, schoolboy, or somebody that had promise, I want to keep you availed of all of these things because my life may never amount to anything. And I may have cursed myself and condemned myself to that particular fate, but I will not let yours be that way. And I think that level of understanding is far gone. And while it may not be worse, it is repackaged in a way that is far more displeasing to the eye because there is no set of rules that go along with the way in which we get these crimes. Crime is so trivialized, we don't even know what crime is anymore because everything's accepted to be normal or your way and your truth that nobody understands that it's the truth. And there are rules, whether you like to follow them or not. We don't care about rules anymore. So that's where we're at.
I don't like it, but you made a point that dehumanized. This is something I've been thinking about. Like you said, the G code, the honor amongst thieves, that really was a thing. And now it's not. What does that mean? What's honor amongst thieves? If you hard up in your stomach, touching your ribs, and you see old lady walking down the street, and you like, man, look, I need that purse. I need that purse. And back in the day, that honor was, I'm gonna wait till she look, I'm gonna snatch her purse. She ain't even gonna know it's gone. You sorry, nah, you charge it to the game. She gonna go home and you take the money. Maybe say you shoot back in the day, you take the money, say, hey, I found your purse, I found who stole it, but the money gone. Today, nah getting knocked in the back of her head, like for no reason. Like, so could that be a thing? So maybe crime is not up. Let's ride the crazy train. Has it become more heinous in nature?
Locked and managed to escape.
Investigators say 27-year-old Johnson and 31-year-old Davis Mitchell followed a bank customer who had just withdrawn $75,000. The constable talked with both victims today.
The wife is at home. She has a broken shoulder and some ribs. She has about a 6 to 8 week recovery process.
Look at this lady. They got her $75,000. Be careful when you're going to withdraw money from the bank. All right, especially if you're like a business owner. All right, they see you walking in there with that big old the bank envelope that say, whatever, Bank of America on it, and you got the zipper. You're like, let me go in. Nah, they sitting outside these banks and they waiting.
Listen, and here's the thing: this ain't nobody up here rich and wealthy. It ain't got to be 75K. We got to really put stuff in the context because folks emotional. It could be the 50 ball. It could be a stone cold $50. Now this is a thing. I ain't gonna hold you, like just growing up the way we did. You always watch out. You always kind of tense when you're at the ATM. And I don't know, maybe it's just damage. But now, man, I don't know. I don't even want to go to the ATM. Leon, what you got on this, man? What's going on? Is crime higher? Are we dehumanized, desensitized, or are we too sensitive? Are we some sensitive ninjas nowadays?
I think that the world's has gone colder. The things that people used to not do, that they had shame for, they don't have it no more. Their hearts have grown really cold. And but this is a true story. After the show last night, I was going to go to the bank. And I mean, it was just on my mind that I really needed to go to the bank to get some money out. And so I had to really think about it. I said, do I really want to kill somebody tonight? I didn't want to unalive anyone. So I stayed home. And about 5 minutes after I decided I was going to stay home, I heard a gunshot in my neighborhood. I said, oh, they shooting. Okay, well, I'll just stay home. Used to be, it wouldn't be anything for me to just leave the house and go out at midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if I wanted to go to the store or just anything, But now I have to think about that thing. I said, look, do I really want to go to jail tonight? So, and this is what's going to happen. These guys that are doing this, see, people are tired of being victims. They're going to run up on the right person and they're going to put them down. Just like a mad dog. That's what you got to do. Some people will just not learn. So what do? You got to put them down. And that's what you got to do. So, and be done about it. These southern states that I live in, you run up on the right person, they're going to put you down. And that's just it. So you can jug, you can jig, you can do hopscotch, whatever you want to do. But you're going to run up on the right person. Just like if you run up in my church, there's only one way. When service begins, there's only one way in and one way out. And half the congregation is armed, including the little kids. They teach them how to shoot early. They take them to the range early. They teach them about, that pow early. So
well, here's the thing. In our community, I agree with you. We ain't necessarily teaching it, but here's what's about to happen. They're about to pass a new crime bill, and they are going to start charging 15-year-olds as adults. That's going to be the move. And it's going to be very unfortunate that we can sit here and keep making excuses, or we're going to have to raise people up better and let them know it's going to be real consequences.
There we go. Do we sit here and cry, moan, whine, march, and protest about how cruel it is to charge a 15-year-old with a lethal weapon? Or do we be proactive and stop the 15-year-olds from walking around with the weapon?
The constable talked with both victims today.
The wife is at home. She has a broken shoulder and some ribs. She has about a 6 to 8 week recovery process. They are very relieved to know that we got these individuals off the street.
About a week ago, this jugging incident took place. You can see the video. This man was followed back to his business and beaten and robbed in the middle of the afternoon.
Police say this is Farrell Dembry and 2 others committing a jugging at the Bank of America on Fallon Loop Road last month. A 4th suspect waited in the car. A repairman was working on the ATM at the time.
The suspects had, while he was working on the ATM, pulled up, forced him to the ground, told him to lay there, indicated that they had a weapon, said they would shoot him if he moved.
Dembry disabled a different ATM in St. Louis earlier in the day, triggering a call to the repairman. They then followed the repairman around to different jobs until they got to O'Fallon.
In the video, you can kind of see this guy sneaking around the cars, and he takes something out of your car. What did he take?
He took money. He took the money I just got at the bank. And it was deliberate.
And how much money was stolen from you?
$60,000. I was just trying to, have a little cash to kind of negotiate better and that type of thing. We never expecting that it was all going to just disappear.
On February 13th, cameras showed the moment he attacked Trung.
This is crazy. 60,000? Shout out to the brother, what's his name, the comedian, the white dude. He said he got robbed. They got him with the jugging. What's his name?
The one that just divorced his wife?
Yeah. Forget his name. But he went to the bank. He said he went to the gym. Gary, whatever.
Gary Owen. No.
Olsen, whatever his name is. Owen. He went to the gym and he said he left the money in the glove department in the car. He came back out of the gym and, his window was busted. He said they followed me from the bank to the gym and took my money, I guess, like 10 racks or whatever he had in there. So we just seen Peach McIntyre going to withdraw $20,000 out the bank live. Y'all better be careful.
You see that? That's typically when folks will start caring. Ain't that unfortunate? Talk about being dehumanized, Brother Mailbox. Like, folks don't tend to care until it's in their backyard. That's all of us. That's a fact. We don't seem to care until it's in our backyard. Folks will be more concerned. We up here putting Wild Peach on display, and then middle her withdrawing her cash, she get jugged. Then folks like, this is real, huh? It don't matter. $75K withdrawn from ATM, which is wild, or $50. Like, who really try to walk around with this stress on them? Again, these are not individuals born, in the suburbs, eating from silver spoons. We come from juggers.
Just disappear.
On February 13th, cameras showed the moment he attacked Trung, body slamming her to the ground and stealing her money. He followed her after she stopped by a bank and withdrew over $4,000 to pay for a family trip to Vietnam. Sister. The Houston woman's adjusting to having limited mobility, left paralyzed. 18-year-old Joseph Harrell pleaded guilty to aggravated robbery, causing serious bodily injury, and was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
Man, Charlotte like a man. She paralyzed. 30 ball for $4,000. Huh.
Hell to the no. To the no. Hell to the no.
This is crazy.
No, mistake. She ain't even that hurt. No, I know she got slammed on the cement. It's a little frail woman, but no, she tripping, man. He should have got about 10 months, man. It ain't even that serious.
So what you got, Mailbox? Get you an EP after that.
Now, this is exactly what we talked about when we talk about dehumanized and not having any level of respect. The fact that you felt like you had to spear this young lady to take money. She's probably half your size. You got ample energy and adrenaline pumping through your body. You could have honestly snatched that purse, at best broke a wrist or something like that, and neither one of those things should happen. But if we want to try to exercise this type of option, it takes very little to go ahead and grab anything from her. And I liken the respect factor to things like they talk about, or Mr. Walker spoke about, things not mattering until they come to your backyard. I'm a school guy by trade. Never thought I'd be walking anybody's streets. I'm a therapist by nature, but these days I'm a mailman. I would never in my life ever thought that the mailman, and some of that is due to the people that are employed, will have less respect where people rob you for arrow keys on a daily basis. A key that I think has very little value to anybody on the outside because you have no understanding of what that key even goes to, but some convoluted theory gave them the understanding that you would risk assaulting a federal employee and having real jail time go along with it for a key that may render you an empty box. But the level of respect that you don't have for that profession, or for anybody that is doing things, that lady was going to the ATM. You could have, like I said, that's a quick chop to the hand and gone. You can blow her down, and you actually chose to tackle her to the ground, and $4,000 is what you got out of it. I worked in a prison in therapy in Pennsylvania for 3.5 years, and you, my friend, would be somebody I saw in a mental health unit, because on the tier they're gonna teach you that was the worst decision you could have ever made, and now you're depressed because real life is showing you that was a decision that you didn't have to make, and somebody let you act on emotion instead of logic.
You know, all of this is a spiral, man, and this all kind of comes together. These bonquishes that call Kendra G show with these kids and all these compilations and things like that, they teach these 4 kids that they have, and 5 and 6 and 8 kids that they talk about. They're looking for these men. They lack accountability. So what makes you think they're going to teach their kids accountability? I heard somebody say one time, you cannot lead where you do not go, and you can't teach what you don't know. So this is the effects of all this stuff, right? This right here is the effects of all of that. It's an all downward spiral, and there's no father in the home. So you look at them like this, like Mailbox was just talking about, about it could have been an easy thing. I mean, they could have just asked her, give it to me. She'd have gave it to him, because she'd have been in fear. She's in fear of them, but they're not in fear of the repercussions of what's going to happen. And that's the thing. We have a community that's living without consequences, and we don't care. From the mama right on down to the nuggets, they are not accountable for nothing. And this is why when every time y'all always have a show and we talk about this stuff with these stepdaddies saying that Kevin Samuels was talking about this stuff is unnatural. It is not in the natural order of things. That's why the homeostatic nature is off in the world, because we are living in an unnatural time.